Hi, I'm Olivia. I'm a singer-songwriter. If you don't know who I am, that is who I am. I write songs and I sing them. And I recently just finished off a project where I wrote 100 songs in 100 days. So if you're tuning into this video wondering how you can start to write better songs and develop your style as an artist, as a musician, then I have got the thing for you. 'Cause it's your birthday. Oh, happy birthday. Yeah. This is a project that I just finished a couple of days ago, and I wanted to talk to you guys about it because it has really changed the way I see myself as an artist. I think it's changed the way that I will write songs in the future, and it has been a massive confidence boost in general for my art and my work. I'm gonna go into depth with how I did this project and tell you just a bit about what I learned, what went well, what went not so well. Spoiler alert, it pretty much went really well. The whole thing went pretty well. And I want to tell you about how I did it. Like, how does one write 100 songs in 100 days and not just collapse on the floor dead by day 10? So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to share this information with you, spread it across the land so everyone will know about how great it is to do a project like this. I'm just a clown running around, clown time. Why did I do it? Why 100 songs? Well, this project started, it kind of stemmed from a number of things. First of all, I had a mentorship meeting with someone. We got talking sort of about my career, my music, where it was at, was it stagnating, yada yada yada. What were my strengths and what were my weaknesses? She said one of my weaknesses was that I was writing the same songs over and over, and they were very indicative of someone who was at the beginning of their career. She titled them slow self-analysis ballads, and that is basically what I was doing. I was trying to find myself as an artist and cottoned on to, oh, if I write like slow, sad, folky pop songs a la Freebie Bridges, it's easy to play slowly, it's easy to like tug on the heartstrings, it's easy to write about sad stuff, and that's what I was doing. I was doing something which I thought meant kind of showed that I was like very deep and like cool, but also I was doing something which was actually quite easy to do as an artist, which was like lean into the sadder aspects of life and complain about why no one wanted to date me. Well, people want to date me now. Also, as a side note, when you finally like get into a place where you're happy with your life or you're in a good relationship with someone and you're a songwriter, it's kind of like, oh shit, like what do I write about now? I can't complain about anything anymore. So that was the first thing that kind of made me think I have to change up my songwriting style. I have to do something completely different. The second thing was that I had been, sort of from the beginning of when I started writing songs, writing these weird tiny songs. I'd always been a fan of people like Frankie Cosmos and the Magnetic Fields, who did 69 Love Songs, which is a great album. Those were the people, like Daniel Johnston, for example, as well. These were people that I really admired and loved while I was kind of growing and developing as an artist, but I found it hard to kind of tap into that world. But I did have a go. And every so often on Bandcamp, I would put up like little compilations of songs. I did like an EP back when I worked as a waitress in a restaurant here in Aberdeen. And I wrote songs about like, you know, people mixing their ketchup and mayo together on a plate, which was just disgusting. And like giving like businessmen, like coupons for like steaks or whatever. Like it was about stuff like that. This mentor woman that I spoke to was like, that stuff is funny, that stuff is interesting, that stuff is weird, like that's your unique sort of thing as an artiste. That's kind of one of your USPs, I guess, like your unique selling point. So she was like, you know, we had 2 lessons. Stop with the sad songs, yes with the tiny songs. So together I thought, you know what, maybe it's time to do some work more on this sort of element of my songwriting. Maybe it's time to like go deeper into the land of tiny songs and see what I can do. Around this time, I'd also been listening to Andy J. Pizza's Creative Pep Talk podcast, which I highly recommend if you're a maker of anything. And he had interviewed this girl who runs Lolly's Ceramics. Her name is Lolly's. She made 100 mugs in 100 days, which I thought was a ridiculous feat, and I still feel like writing 100 songs in 100 days is probably easier than making 100 mugs in 100 days. But he interviewed her about that project, and it just seemed like something wild and crazy that she did, which ended up bringing loads of benefits to her and her creative practice. So I thought, hey, you know what? What if I just write 100 tiny songs, 100 weird, tiny, fun songs in 100 days? And I did it. I started like almost immediately. And I just started writing them every day and posting them to Instagram and YouTube every day. You can find them on my YouTube here, and I'll also link them to Bandcamp and my Instagram in the description box down below if you want a different way of experiencing the project. Here's how you write a tiny song. So how did I do it? There were only like a few rules. There wasn't like a secret amazing formula to kind of doing a project like this. I mean, the most important thing was just like showing up every day and doing something. So the parameters of the project were this. I said to myself, okay, I have to write a tiny song. What is a tiny song? It is a song that's less than a minute long. I also decided that I didn't want to spend more than like around an hour making the whole song. So yeah, not spend too long on it. And also feeding into that idea as well was just trying not to make it perfect, you know, trying to use as many first takes of things if possible, as long as there's no like big mistakes or anything in them. And just not overcomplicate, not overproduce, basically just enjoy the kind of looseness of the whole project. And they were like sketches. It was like the equivalent of like posting like a little sketch in a book or something every day, but obviously like the process is a little bit different, you know. I'm not using my pencils and my paper, I'm using my keyboard and a microphone. I normally sat down to write my song the day before. I always did the day before. So I had enough time to kind of line everything up, and then I would schedule it on YouTube, etc. But I would write it the day before, normally around the afternoon, like around 3 o'clock if we want to be very specific for some reason. And normally I would sit down with like a very sparse setup, like incredibly sparse. I'm not at home in London, I'm up in Scotland, and so I don't like have a lot of the tools that I would normally have, but like I had an acoustic guitar, I had like an old electric guitar, and an amp, and like this like dusty keyboard and my laptop, and that was basically it. That's all that I had with me, and some headphones, which are helpful too. And what I would normally do is I would just start with maybe like playing around with the keyboard. I used the drum machine on the keyboard quite a lot, like the most basic of the basic type of stuff, but I really enjoyed like putting rhythm and stuff into my songs because I normally write on acoustic guitar. I used the guitar way less than I thought I would be using it. I was mostly on keyboard. And so I would play around with stuff, come up with some ideas. Maybe I had thought of something that day, or maybe I had like taken a note on my phone that day about something I wanted to write about. Normally the songs I wrote were to do with something I'd heard that day or something I was thinking or feeling that day. So whether that was like, I was doing a lot of geology lectures over the course of this project, so a lot of the songs are about like rocks. Sediment, monuments, underground, flipping it. Or even about like a picture of a dog that my friend would send me. Can you push this button that says I love you? Or about a glass of milk. Do you have any milk? We haven't got any more. Can you go to the shop? That's what I'm going up for. Or about, you know, Christmas time. Watching the snow fall on TV. There's none outside this Christmas. Or whatever. So it was really super wide ranging. So I would play around with that, and then I would start recording things. What did I use to record with? I used this fantastic microphone called my phone. I just used the voice app on my phone. It's pretty good. Like, if you know, the main thing is like knowing where to position it. Even though I did have a microphone at my disposal and I used it sometimes. I had a Rode mic, just like a condenser mic. I normally used my phone because it's a condenser mic as well. Like, it's and it kind of takes away like the preciousness of the whole project as well. So what I would do is I would like, you know, put my phone, lean it against my keyboard, play, normally either listening to like a click track or something on my digital audio workstation. I use Ableton, but you know, you could use GarageBand, Logic, Audacity. And then once I finished recording the voice memo, I would just airdrop it to my computer and just pop it in and line it up with everything. And that was it. It probably might have been easier sometimes to have like a setup where I could just directly record straight into my computer. But I think the process of kind of like holding the phone and singing into it and just feeling very like playful really helped with the creativity element of this whole project. So I enjoyed using my phone as a microphone, and I have loads and loads of stems left over in my voice memo app from this whole project. So basically once I had everything together in Ableton, in my music making software, then I would normally like maybe change the EQ a little bit on some stuff, add a little bit of drive or saturation. I was normally leaning more towards kind of like a lo-fi crunchy sound, so sometimes I would even like add even more distortion and stuff on top, because you kind of like, I kind of have this thing like if it sounds a little bit crap, like make it sound really crap and then it ends up sounding good in some kind of weird way. So I went for that, exported it as a WAV, and then made a little picture, which was normally from something I'd drawn that day or from a photograph I'd taken. I would just put it into Photoshop, like a square picture, and then put it together in iMovie, export it, and that was it. Like I had the video, and that was what I would do every day. I would schedule it on YouTube, and I'd save it on my computer obviously, and then upload it to Instagram the next morning at around 10:30. So it was quite I managed to fall into like quite a good rhythm with the whole project of like 3 o'clock the day before, I'm going to do the song, schedule it on YouTube, get all my files ready, then the next day post it on Instagram the next morning, and that was normally how I would work over the process of this project. I had some sort of expectations, I guess, going into this project. Some of them were met, some of them were not met, because I thought, you know, there'd be a massive fanfare and like journalists outside my door. By song 100, there weren't any. But in general, it went really, really well. On Instagram, I grew by like 150 followers, which might not be a lot, but the quality of people, I guess if you can say people have quality, like the quality of followers I gained over the course of the project were just like really lovely, interested people who were really vibing with what I did, like true fans, rather than people who were just like, oh nice, lovely, great, fire emojis, like the fire emoji people of music Instagram. I hate them. Not only did it bring me new followers, but it also brought the people who already follow me a lot closer to me, and they had more reason to stay engaged and get in touch and like laugh at what I'd been doing or give me suggestions for songs, tiny songs to make as well. The project also changed the way I saw myself as an artist. So beforehand, like I had the like sad girl kind of like film photography avatar, and if you scroll through my Instagram, it's quite like you know, like neutral colors, a bit gloomy, like, and that's the kind of vibe that I thought I was like cultivating. And then this Tiny Songs project came and just like threw all of it in the trash basically, and we were starting again from scratch with something very colorful and very happy and very weird and very fun. And I felt so much more like my humorous, interesting self, which was a part of me, which is like really kind of integral to who I am as a person, as an artist, which wasn't coming through in my music and my sort of like online persona before. So that really helped. I even wear more colorful clothes now because of the project. I feel like it really kind of helped me show more of who I am, and it helped me kind of like reveal that part by just doing something over and over again, something weird, something interesting. I was actually like becoming more of myself. I was finding myself more through doing this project. Here's a really big thing that I learned as well from the project, and this was like one of the massive takeaways for me, is that you don't need inspiration to write. I think before this project I was really of the mindset that, you know, there are like busy periods and there are like not so busy periods in terms of songwriting, and really good songs will just drop out of the sky when I'm washing the dishes or in the shower, and I will write them and it'll be great. I found through writing a song, sitting down and having to write a song every day, yes, there are periods where you write crap, but in my head, the sooner you write the rubbish, the sooner you can get that out of the way and then get to the really good stuff as well. So I mean, I had to write a song every single day, and it really just proved that like it is possible. You can do it. Anything is possible. Also, off of the back of this whole project, I have a whole bunch of demos that I can then go and change and turn into and develop into real songs, which I'm really excited about doing. So it was also just a lesson in like creating a bunch of stuff that I can then go off and work on, which will probably keep me busy for quite a while at this point.
We tried the best we could today, even though plans didn't go our way.
So obviously there were a lot of upsides to the project. There were also some downsides, but they weren't massive, and they weren't so big that they kind of had like sort of any impact on me at all, I would say. The first thing I noticed was my YouTube follower count went down as I was posting these songs, and that is mainly because of the reason that when I started gaining loads of followers on YouTube, my account was about bullet journaling, and I don't do that anymore. And I think posting super frequently a whole bunch of content which completely isn't related to bullet journaling at all, around like 150 followers just kind of dropped off and were like, oh, goodbye, this isn't for me, which like I completely understand and sympathize with. If suddenly you subscribe for one thing and you're getting another thing, maybe that's completely not your cup of tea. So I did lose some followers. However, having gained people who are really interested in what I was doing on Instagram kind of balanced that out for me quite a lot. And I'm also hoping through talking about this project and stuff, maybe I will gain some more interested people on the YouTube platform as well. Another thing which I would have done differently, it's not necessarily like a massive challenge or like a downside from the project, is that I would have saved the project files. I didn't save the project files. I do this a lot and I need to stop doing this, but basically after I had exported the songs every day, I would delete then my working file in Ableton, so I couldn't go back in, look at the stems or look at the way I process stuff or like take out the vocals and make instrumentals of things. I literally would just like do it and then bin it and move on to the next thing, which probably is not the best thing when it comes to like going back and, you know, maybe exporting things at higher quality for Spotify, etc. But I mean, after having uploaded 100 of these songs to Bandcamp, and that took me so long, I really don't want to think about the nightmare of having to like independently register and upload every single song to Spotify. But you know, Stephen Merritt's PA does that for him with his 69 love songs, so maybe someone could do it for me. But I think I would do that differently next time. I think I would make sure I kept project files just in case. Probably just keep everything on an external hard drive rather than having to worry about storage on my own computer. So that's a lesson for next time.
Thanks for tuning in. It's time to go.
Thank you for sticking around and listening to what I got out of this project. I would highly recommend doing something like this. I think it's one of these things that like is really fun and interesting, and is also like a little bit of a gimmick, so that when you're meeting new people or talking to people or networking and stuff, you can be like, hey, I'm doing this weird thing where I'm doing 100 of something in 100 days, and it just kind of gets people on board, it gets people interested, and makes you feel like you're doing something, you're going somewhere, and people want to kind of join in on that energy. Also, my friend got me this little trophy. I did celebrate after finishing the project. I had some champagne, I had a meal, and got some flowers, so it's important to celebrate your successes as well. But what I wanted to say is, yeah, I will take a lot of the lessons I learned in this project and carry it forwards to what I'm doing next. If you don't know, I have a single out which you can check out here on YouTube and also listen to on Spotify, Apple Music, yada yada yada. Also at the same time, I'm working on 3 more singles, which I am hoping to either approach independent labels with my mixed and mastered versions of them and maybe get released through a label, which would be amazing. Otherwise I will do it independently and release these songs myself in the upcoming year. I'm also working on another longer term project, which is kind of about songwriting, time and geology, which will be a longer term thing happening over the course of this year and probably into next year as well, so stay tuned for that. And I will try also to make more content here on YouTube if any of you are interested in stuff about songwriting or creativity, or I don't know, tiny trophies. Do you want to decorate this with me? We could decorate this together. Until then, you can always find me. I'm super active on Instagram, posting little things here and there, and I will hopefully be back as well with some kind of like sketchbooky kind of type stuff, because I still am doing visual things in what is not really a bullet journal, but I guess kind of one as well. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you sometime soon. Okay, bye.